Hey guys, it's Dina, and in today's video I'm going to be taking you through my entire recovery process from breaking my ankle to now, which is almost healed all the way. Well, I guess I am healed, but almost back to where I was before I broke my ankle. So I know when I broke my ankle I was looking up tons of these videos just to see like how long it takes to recover and different things like that. So obviously everybody's recovery time is a bit different, but I'm just going to be explaining to you my recovery from when I first broke my ankle back in December to now. On December 8th, I broke my ankle at cheer practice. I was warming up a tumbling pass and I completely landed it wrong, and right away I knew I did something wrong. I heard something crack a couple times, and then I was just laying out on the floor, and so I went to the emergency room and had a bunch of x-rays, all that stuff, and they basically told me that I had broken my tibia and my fibula as they go into the ankle joint. So I'll show you a picture now of what my actual foot looked like when I was at the hospital. So I'll show you that now. So they told me that I broke my tibia and my fibula, and they pretty much said that they didn't know if they would have to operate, but they couldn't tell because of the swelling, so they basically said they were going to put it in this splint, which I thought, when I thought of splint, I thought of like, you know, one of those little plastic things, and I was like, if this is really broken, like, I don't think that's going to work. But I'll insert a picture here. This is what it looked like. It had plaster down the sides and around the bottom, and then there was just a bunch of cotton and like an ace bandage wrapped around a lot. So it was kind of a little weird and certainly big, but I had that on until the 15th. When I was at the hospital, they gave me a shot in my ankle, basically to help with like the pain, because they had to mold the plaster to my foot. So I'm really glad that I got that. I'm not super good with needles, but I'm glad I got that because it hurt even with the needle, because he had to like press the plaster to mold it to my foot. So on, I think it was December 17th, I went back to the office so that they could look at my foot again and see if the swelling had gone down and decide whether or not they were going to want to operate on it. So when I had gone back, they took the splint off, and they said pretty much if you have a break that's on both sides of like two bones, that they would really recommend getting surgery on it, just because it would have taken 6 weeks in the cast without the surgery, and they said it most likely wouldn't heal on its own, so then that would be 6 weeks of nothing, and then we'd operate, and then there would be another 6 to 8 weeks. So I decided to get the surgery on my ankle just to hopefully, you know, speed up the recovery. They ended up putting in 10 screws and 1 plate into my ankle, so there's 8 screws on one side on the outside with the plate, and then there's 2 screws that go through the other piece of bone that was broken, and so they're like bigger screws. So on December 15th I ended up going back to the doctor's. My surgery was scheduled for the 17th, but when I had gone on the 13th, or that Saturday, the person who put the splint back on my foot didn't do a very good job. They reused the one that they had made for me on the 8th and tried to like fit it back to my foot, and it was wrapped too tight, and it ended up causing me so much pain. So I had gone back to get a different splint because I just couldn't stand the pain anymore. Even though surgery was 2 days away, I couldn't handle it, so I went back. And when they took the splint off, you could definitely tell that something wasn't right. I'll show the picture right here. But my foot was like extremely red and just a lot more aggravated, I guess, than it was previously. So they put a new splint on, and the actual cast guy was there since it wasn't a Saturday, so it was a lot better, and they didn't put the plaster. They used something else that wasn't so restricting, and So this is what that splint looked like. And so on December 17th, I went in for surgery, and it was kind of weird. It was my first time getting surgery, so I didn't really know what to expect. But I had gone in, and they gave me the gown. I like dressed in the gown or whatever, and the doctor came in, marked where he was going to operate, and I don't believe they gave me any medicine before I went into the operating room. So they wheeled my bed down to the operating room and had me like scooch onto the operating table. And then all I remember was them talking around me, and I was just looking at the room or whatever. And then the anesthesiologist came in, and he put the mask over my face, just told me to take a couple breaths, and then I was just knocked out. So obviously I don't remember the procedure. I was completely knocked out, but when I woke up, I was in a ton of pain. So they tried giving me 2 types of painkillers, and they upped the amount so much that you would have thought it was working, but nothing was touching me. So what ended up happening was they gave me a nerve block in my leg, and so they tried to do it on one side of my thigh because that's where it like goes in, I guess. But that didn't work, so then they ended up having to stab me again on the other side of my thigh, and it was not very fun. The needle definitely hurt. But after they got that second try, my whole leg went completely numb, so it was really good. They said it was going to last between like 24 and 36 hours, I guess. And it didn't last that long, but it certainly helped with the pain for getting home and just sleeping that night, so that was nice. And this was the splint that I had on after the surgery. So I had to keep that cast on, or splint on, whatever you call it, for a little while. And then on December 27th, I went back to the doctor's, and I got a hard cast put on. And so they took my stitches out and put the little tape on it or whatever. And then I got my hard cast, and I'll insert a picture of what that looked like here. It was purple. So I had that purple cast on for a while. Obviously it's non-weight bearing, and those are certainly not the most comfortable things. They're very itchy, they're very like tight, and they make your leg hot. And the problem with me was I had the cast on for 6 weeks, I think, and so the swelling had gone down a serious amount, and the cast was not comfortable. It kept like banging. Because of where I broke my ankle, there was stuff on each side that was hurt. So no matter which way I rested my foot on a pillow or whatever, it would hurt. And so I went back to see if I could get a different cast put on. And they had put on another... They checked it out to see if they could put on a walking boot or something that I could take off, but they said it would be best to put the plaster cast back on, so they ended up putting another purple cast back on. And I had that one on until January 22nd, which is when I went back and they gave me the walking boot and said I wasn't allowed to put weight on it yet, but at least I could take the boot off at home and shower more easily and things like that. So that was nice. A week after that, I got to start putting weight on the leg with the boot. And so that was really nice to start walking again. On January 28th, I started my first day of physical therapy. My physical therapist is great, so he really pushed me to try and like push myself, I guess, because at that point my bones were already healed. So it was really just me getting my strength back and my motion. On February 11th, I ended up getting rid of the walking boot and just using 2 crutches and my own sneakers to walk around. Between February 11th and February 26th, I cut back to just 1 crutch, and then by February 26th, I used no crutches. So it definitely hurt a lot. There was still a lot of swelling. on March 17th, it was St. Patrick's Day, I went back to the doctor's, had more x-rays. Everything looks fine. Obviously, the bones were still good, and none of the screws or the plate, and nothing had moved at all, so that was good. And basically, right now where I'm at, I just have to continue with physical therapy 2 times a week, and I'll go back in 9 weeks to see him, and by then I should be all set. No more physical therapy. I should be able to do everything. So when I had the surgery, so that is basically my entire story, my entire recovery. I hope you guys enjoyed the pictures. I hope this helped you a little bit. I guess I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!